we are privileged to have Mr. Carlo Angelo Gonzales as our resource person for our research, Phenomeon Use of Hashtags. He is a social media manager at I Volunteer Philippines. Thank you, sir, for letting us have an interview with you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Can you tell us a brief information about your work?
I am a social media manager and consultant for local and foreign businesses. I basically help small to medium enterprises create success for themselves online and mostly through social media.
How is the feeling of being engaged in social media and social media channels?
It feels good because it's not the traditional kind of work that like people older than us, saying us because I'm young, are involved with, and it's a little liberating too.
You are enjoying with your work
Very much.
being involved in social media.
Yep.
In social networks, we find hashtags being used by different netizens. In your own opinion, do you find any necessity in using hashtags?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like recently for the Yolanda typhoon, there have been a lot of hashtags that have been very useful. Hashtags have been very useful, particularly whenever there are natural calamities like Yolanda. One use of such hashtag is hashtag RescuePH. These are tweets or posts that indicate an address and a certain situation of a person who needs rescue. And people from all over, people from the net, usually those who handle, I think it's those people who handle reliefph.com, they contact the specific LGUs or government institutions involved in the rescue of those individuals. There is also hashtag ReliefPH, which basically it sends out information on where you could provide relief or donations or relief aid to people or to LGUs that need help. Or that's why I think that hashtags are very important.
Is it helpful, especially in your work?
Yeah, very much. I am a social media manager for non-government organizations. One of them used to be World 1P Philippines, and the other one, which is a bigger project for me right now, is I Volunteer Philippines, and we want to spread the concept of volunteerism, and we use hashtags to incorporate a certain message to our posts, or we use them, or at least I use them in the business for measuring how much that specific post or tweet has reached.
What do you think is the benefits of these hashtags sending out your messages in its context in social media?
That depends. One really good use, as I mentioned earlier, is during natural calamities. It's also a good way for people to connect because when, like for instance, in Twitter or in Facebook or Twitter, you post a throwback Thursday image or tweet. So it's probably hashtag TBT or hashtag throwback Thursday. When people click on it, they see other tweets with containing that same tag or that same hashtag. So they can see other people who may use that hashtag and can see something, can probably see a connection with whatever they post. And when that's the case, that's literally common ground. And they can connect and meet, talk to each other, share interests. So I think it's relatively important, so long as it's not spam.
Do you think if there is a hashtag, will there be any changes or any effects in our communication?
There have already been changes. Prior to Ondoy, people never used hashtags outside of just connecting with people. After Ondoy, or I think it was during Ondoy, the I think it was Rosario Juan who thought up of using specific hashtags for saving people, helping them get out of floods, etc. etc. So there may very well be a change in what happened to, or what's been happening during the past few months or years, where hashtag relief PH and hashtag rescue PH are being used. I think that's just the start. There's going to be definitely more application for the use of hashtags.
Can you determine some influences of using hashtags in social media?
What influences them to use hashtags? I think it's really because they want to be associated with a certain trend. And in social media, I think trends are often associated with hashtags. So in their want to belong in a group, for example, people post with hashtags. If you know hashtag YOLO, so a lot of people in the West use that because it's, I don't know exactly how that hashtag started, but I think it's really more of how to belong. But then again, we can see different reasons or different sources or reasons why these hashtags started. Again, to state the Yolanda example, there's the reason for it starting was because people wanted to help, and people online use that specific platform, which is social media, to get people out of dark places when there's a storm.
What do you think is the limitation and borderlines in using hashtags?
Limitations, as long as you're not racist or sexist, as long as you're not offending anyone, and as long as you don't become spammy. When you become spammy, I mean like more than 1/3 of your message are hashtags. So let's just use it in the proper context. So ayun, and there has to be a purpose. You have to use it responsibly.
Can you give us some advice and tips on how netizens should use hashtags for betterment and effectiveness?
I have no problems with people expressing themselves on social media, but if it's for hashtags where people's lives are in danger, like rescue PH or relief PH, I think we should be a little more responsible in using those hashtags. I think people should know what and why those hashtags exist, so that they can use it appropriately. I think one main issue that people who are trying to help in relief PH or rescue PH are having is that it's not a rescue-related tweet, but there's still a rescue PH hashtag attached to it.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzales, for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.